Hey guys, back here again with another review, and today we're going to be taking a look at the fourth studio album, Origins, from one of my all-time favorite bands, Imagine Dragons. Only a year and some change after the third studio album, Evolve, the fourth caught a lot of the fans, including me, by surprise. Randomly releasing several songs after Evolve kind of did hint towards something, but most people just thought like an EP or deluxe version of Evolve. And sure enough, I was wrong. A little while after the release of what would be the second single of the album, Zero, they announced Origins. And there were actually 4 singles for the entire album before the release, starting with Natural that came out a few months before the release, and then Zero, and then after it was announced just a week and a half before the release, Machine, and then about a few days before Bad Liar. After it was all said and done and the album was coming and all the singles were released, I honestly had the least amount of hype ever for any of their albums. Simply because, for one, that the album was only a year after Evolve and I didn't have a lot of time to they didn't take a break or anything. It was just constant Imagine Dragons, which I enjoyed, of course, but it was constant, so I didn't really have a break and a time to fall back and then them come back and get excited again. But at the same time, I also felt this was the weakest selection of singles that they had presented for an album. In the past, all their singles have always been some of my favorites of those years, and so this, I just didn't feel the same way about it, as I did enjoy them a lot, but those singles from the last 3 albums are just so iconic to me that these just don't compare really. Nevertheless, though, I was still extremely excited for this to come out. The album opens up with the lead single, Natural, and stylistically it does align with Evolve, with a kind of booming chorus and a more pop-centralized theme. And after that, you can kind of tell it veers off into a different direction, as that's the only song that really sounds anything like it should be on Evolve and not Origins, as it is a great song, but it just doesn't match a lot of what's to come. My only real issue that I had with Evolve is it felt like sometimes that they were stuck in a middle ground, where they were in an awkward area where they wanted to do electronic music and pop music and have their rock influence just kind of overall over it. And so, but they couldn't really decide, and they only took a little bit from here and there in pop and electronic music, and some of the songs ended up sounding a little dry just because they didn't have enough taste to it. And then this album, though, I feel like they were like, screw it, and then just jumped the border and kind of went all in with that more electronic sound. They took the risk, pretty much. They even took a common remix worker of theirs, Jorgen Odengard, to produce 2 of the songs, Boomerang and Bad Liar. Both drop a lot more of that authentic feel Imagine Dragons typically likes to have in their songs, and replaces it with a more synthesized sound. And on Boomerang, I do feel it kind of lacks. It doesn't really have a lot of jump to it and kind of just fades out in the middle of the song, but does have a solution at the end that I do enjoy. But the middle just sounds kind of played out and bland and not that interesting. Bad Liar, on the other hand, is the proper way that Imagine Dragons is able to do this more polished sound, with Dan Reynolds kind of building up a vocal progression on the chorus up to a peak, which it kind of explodes with, a lot like EDM does with a drop and such and such. So that does work in their favor in this, and does sound a lot better than Boomerang. Outside of Jorgen, the boys pretty much stick to their normal crew of producers like Matt Mann and Robin, Alex the Kid, and Joel Little, except for one song in particular by Ido Mishlani. Love being the song Ido helped produce. It perfectly matches all the other songs on the album, as it should, and what really brings it together is the united vocal chorus, and that really brings home the message of love that the song's about. And all the other songs certainly deliver on the production end, with 3 songs in particular that stick out: Machine, Digital, and Only. Machine captures Dan Reynolds' discomfort of the band's social appearance, asking the listener if they really think that they do it for the money or the fame. With a chorus effect that sounds like it was recorded in a bar, along with very mechanical sounding production to kind of add to the style and feel of Machine, really kind of brings the song all together and gives it a unique sound that isn't really found anywhere else. Only could have the Chainsmokers and Drew Taggart working behind the curtains on this, really bringing a new sound to the Imagine Dragons discography. And then there's Digital. And there's no way I will be able to talk about this entire song in a realistic amount of time, as the production on this thing is insane, and I cannot get over it. And the way it just changes throughout the song, but yet still flows together fairly nice, is beyond me. And so I would say if there's anything on here that you should listen to, it would be this song for the production alone. But beyond that, there are so many more reasons. A troll start with a light guitar kicks off the song before suddenly switching into a gripping bass line and insane drum beat. And then again quickly changing into a more halfway stripped back instrumental with a more eerie kind of pre-chorus, which then strips back all the way and for a what I believe is to be the best chorus I've heard all year. The thing is so catchy, and the atmosphere and whatever filter they put over Dan Reynolds' voice on this thing to kind of give it that echo, but it's still so crisp. It's just beyond me on how this could be made even. And then after the chorus, it then just goes back to that insane drum beat and bass line again. Lyrically, the song's about inspiring the youth to rebel about previously held expectations. And I really gotta commend the producers on a majority of these tracks too, with really making the instrumentals fit the theme of the actual song, like Machine and like this. And again, I can't really do the song justice with words. This is something that I could never really fathom to think they would make, or really even think of how they came up with the ideas. How did Alex the Kid come up with these different portions of the song and push them together? They weave so nice, but they sound so wrong at the same time. The topics on this thing do range a bit too, with a tad more love songs from the band than usual, but there are some new topics, like on the track Bullet in a Gun. Touching on their recent accusations of being sellouts, the song really focuses on that as well as Dan's mental health. On Birds, he reassures that all hardships will pass in a light-hearted, inspiring affair. And outside of Boomerang, the only thing that I could really criticize even a little is the fact that it just doesn't come together quite right. And they've never really cared about making the track ordering really make it that flow that well, as with their old albums, all their hits are typically at the top of the albums. They are one of the bands to not really care about the form of it that much. And this one is a little different. It does kind of flow a bit smoother, but I feel like it was just by accident, and it could be improved at some places, like Digital, where it's at in the album comparative to like where Natural is. Digital would also make a fantastic opener to kind of just throw listeners off. Imagine Dragons continues to deliver with a unique sound that outspars anybody else in the game, and with a wide range of beautifully written tunes as well. And from lighthearted tracks to abrasive anger, there's really no dull moment in here. So in the end, I'm going to give this thing a 10. So let me know what you guys thought of the album, what you thought of the review. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And go to my SoundCloud and Twitter. And I will talk to you guys next time. See ya. Bye.